Hello. Um, the theme of this podcast is going to be intervention. And then I'm going to talk in another podcast, I'm going to talk about meditation, which is very, very, very important. I think is excellent. I think is everybody should be doing it. And so Sherry asked me to talk about meditation. So that will be the next one. I did a podcast that it was about intervention, but somehow the sound, something happened. But anyway, so here we are again. And this is my opinion on intervention. Is intervention, if you don't know, is it's sort of like the new tough love. Back in the 90s, tough love became the thing, and it's so funny because if you remember, I don't know how old you are, but if you're listening to this podcast, in the late 80s, I believe it was the 80s, early 90s, there's two things that became sort of like the big thing in the popular thing, or at least they try to encourage that you did that, which is tough love. The other thing it was, I think at the time it was what's his name? Reagan. Reagan was the president. His wife came out with some bullshit. Say no to drugs, and it was the fight against drugs. And well, you see what happened to the fight against drugs. Say no to drugs. This is a very good example of not going against it. Don't go against anything. Very good example. Say no to drugs, and the fight against drugs, it became the biggest thing. It was in the news. Psychologists talk about it. It was the first lady. It was the slogan, say no to drugs. They wanted children not to follow that road of drugs. And then I think after that, I forgot who was the president. I believe it was the Clinton. They came out with three strikes, and then you're in prison forever. And they put everybody in fucking jail then. So I live long enough to tell you that it doesn't work. Look at it now. Look at it's not about drugs anymore. It's not about some people doing drugs. When I was really young, it was the thing that kids did. They did drugs. They kind of, it was recreational, I guess. I never did drugs and I never did alcohol. My thing was more food. My trauma, because we all have traumas, was more eating, was my drugs. I would eat something, an ice cream, or especially ice cream, and I'll forget, it will pacify me. But never drugs, and never alcohol. And definitely not sleeping, having sex, or finding a man to love me, none of that stuff. It was food. So it was the biggest thing then, And kids did drugs. They kind of try, I guess. Some of them did it while they were young and then quit. And I think most of the drugs they did when I was really young, the in thing was cocaine and marijuana. It wasn't so much alcohol. But then it became alcohol because alcohol is a legal drug. I think it was more acceptable if you get drunk than if you did drugs. And so yes, so it was marijuana and cocaine and then alcohol and then all different pills. I guess I remember it was people would drink. I hear that people would drink and the Valium, I believe. So it was I don't know the difference between narcotic and barbiturics. I think these are barbiturics. It's pills that make them go to sleep. And I don't know exactly what is narcotics, but or if it's the same thing. But now we have a pandemic. It is a pandemic. It's out of control. And the drugs are no longer drugs for partying, to have a good time and to a social drugs. If that's what the people did, I would imagine the drugs just, I don't know, to party maybe. Now these drugs are more committing suicide. I think it's a form of slow suicide. And I'm going to tell you something. After speaking to these non-physical teachers, one of the stuff that I wanted to know, there was a lot of things that I wanted to know a lot. And one of them was, what happened after you die? Because my mother died when I was really young. She was 40-something. And something else that I wanted to know is, after I found out what happened after you die, I wanted to know what happened when a person commits suicide. Because when I was younger, I thought about what happened. One time I was really, 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 really in a dark, depressed about my life because, your mother dies and it wasn't drugs. It was just I was depressed about my life, my situation. And I thought, it came to me, it comes like a thought. When essences speak to you, it comes as a thought. And we're going to talk more about this because how do you recognize when it's you and when it's you and when it's other essences? Because there's a you and then there's a you. And who's that you? There's so much wisdom and divinity. And then who's you? So we'll talk about that too. It's very important to know if what happened, how to tell the difference. So me, the me, which is the totality, told me that if I committed suicide, my suffering would not be ending there. It would not end. This anxiety, this fear, all this stuff will remain if I commit suicide. And so I didn't. Now, move forward 20 years, and I speak with these teachers, and they tell me the same thing. And I was, wow, it is, there's you need to have this communication with what you call higher self, what you call the inner self. And that's what I'm going to be talking very near in a few days. I will talk about that you, that inner you, that these teachers don't like, or not that they don't like, but they prefer that we don't refer to higher, because it's a very humanistic way to discount ourselves, where we see ourselves as lower dimension, higher dimension. They don't want that because they feel that there's no higher, there's no better, you know. So, but they told me when somebody commits suicide, all the shit, if you're having anxiety, no matter what happened, you will continue to experience it after death for a while. Now, if a person, these people that die because they overdose on drugs, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen to them. So I'm not suggesting that you do it. And I don't need to do that because I don't believe anybody that is listening to me is doing drugs, right? I'm just sharing this information that these teachers gave me. And I wanted to know. And my son wanted to know. And actually my son felt that it was unfair that people that are already suffering continue to suffer after they die. And I told my son, yeah, it is fucked up, but there's a reason what happened. It's not a punishment. And maybe that's why religion always teaches not to kill ourselves, I think in the Catholic Church it's a sin to kill yourself. It's not a sin. You're not punished. There's a reason why you continue to experience, and I will explain that in the other video. But you definitely don't want to commit suicide. Of course, nobody can stop you. You want to do it, you're going to do it. No matter what anybody says, you're going to do it. But anyways, it wasn't something that I would do ever. Because when it came to me, I would never do that. So, people that do drugs to that extreme where they are not even there anymore, it's a suicide. It is, You just don't want to be here anymore. So, you can be of help to them, and I don't mean you or me, I mean in general. If you want to help them, let's say it's your son or your daughter, or whoever it is that you want to, it's a relative, there's a way to do it, but it's not through, for me, intervention is not ideal. And the reason it's not ideal is because is forcing them, is discounting them, is manipulating them, is deceiving, is you trick them into doing something. And so yes, the program show you that these people give up. The most that I have seen is they say the person got off drugs or got off alcohol, and they show that it's already 8 months and the person never went back to drugs or alcohol. Now, they don't show you what is the percentage who would actually take that forceful intervention, that they will agree with that. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you the percentage of people that stays in the program. And I'm sure they only show you in the show, they only show you the people that agree and stay. They don't show you the people that agree and left, or the people that agree and stay, and for how long they stay. I remember meeting this lady, and she was divorced, but her ex was an alcoholic. He worked for Con Edison in New York, and he was I guess one of those, I don't know, Alcoholic Anonymous, one of those things. And he was off alcohol for, according to her, 15 years. 15. And they went back to drugs. I mean, alcohol. He was married at the time, and I met the wife, the new wife, and she was very nice, very pretty woman. He was a nice guy too. And I think she told me they met, both of them, they met in one of those alcohol things. And yeah, and he continued to work and blah, blah, blah. But then he went back to drinking again. You're supposed to, I guess, make phone calls every day. And when you feel like you're going to drink, you call. You have like a sponsor. You call and say, I feel like drinking, which I think is a very good program. I mean, sometimes a person can take it, and if you make that call, you won't drink. You won't go back to drinking. So I think it's very nice. It's a very supportive program. But in any case, the topic is intervention. And intervention, well, let me put it this way. Somebody who is doing drugs or alcohol, they don't need your help and they don't want your help. It's like you're overeating. And you're eating, you decide you want to eat a bagel. And the other person, your family, your mother, your husband, your son, whatever, says, no, bagel is not good for you. You need to lose the weight. I would be pissed. I would be like, don't fucking tell me what to do. I mean, that's just with the bagel, you know. Don't fucking tell me what to do. I need a bagel. I need right now bagels because I feel that I'm going to strangle somebody. So I need a bagel. And maybe this is the way the people feel. I need that alcohol, so shut the fuck up. Don't tell me what to do. So I feel that when somebody is doing drugs or when somebody is doing anything, you know, alcohol, whatever it is, they are doing it. The reason they are drinking is to it's funny, right? It's funny because with alcohol, you will think that it's to forget. You have issues and you want to forget with alcohol, but actually, alcohol makes you think more. They think more, deeper, think more, and become angry. This is why they become violent. And once they drink, they become very drunk, they go to sleep, they wake up like the demon inside of them, angry, and until they have the next drink. I never try to take drugs from someone or to take the alcohol from someone. You think you're going to go to somebody who's doing drugs and go there and take the drugs away and throw them in the garbage? Think again. It is very, very dangerous. The same thing with alcohol. Don't fucking do that. Especially if you're a woman and the guy is even if he's not a big guy, he can kill you. So don't do that. Don't try to take that drugs or alcohol from someone. Let them figure out for themselves. Let them do it for themselves. Don't intervene that way, you know. A cop can do that, you know. But I wouldn't suggest, and who knows how many of these wives that did it got killed, you know, or really, really hurt, you know, so don't do that. So with intervention, I have seen programs with intervention where I saw one, there's a woman, an alcoholic, and the daughter. First of all, they trick them into, they're going to go someplace and they end up surrounded by all relatives who say, you're a piece of shit and you destroy my life. And you either go to rehab right now, you're going to get in the car and leave and go there, or you're never going to see us, we're not going to give you a penny, and that's it. You got to do what we tell you to do. That's rehab. That's that's intervention. You do what we tell you because we love you. So if you don't do it, we don't love you anymore. Fuck you. Go live, do whatever you want. You're not going to ever know about us. So it's an ultimatum. You have to do what we tell you to do. I'll be surprised how many people say yes to that, because the first reaction is to rebel and say, no, fuck you. I don't need you. See, it's no, I'm not going to do what you tell me. And so this woman said to the woman, went on, and I can see them, just listening to all the shit the family said about them. They're sitting there, and the mother, the daughter, the husband, the wife, each one reads from a piece of paper. They are reading all the reasons why what they think of them, and how much you hurt me, and how much you didn't give a shit about me as a child, and blah, 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 blah. So basically, is everybody surrounds this individual is letting them know you're a piece of shit, okay? And I think the way to do it is to tell the person, I can understand what you're going through. I wish I could be of help to you, but I don't know how to help you. Only you know how to help yourself. And sometimes you may not even know. But I'll be here for you. And if I can give you money, I will do that. But if I don't have the money, I probably won't be able to help you with money. If you need any help, let me know. If you need someone to talk to, if you're afraid, whatever it is, I'm here. Just and sometimes a person doesn't have, I don't know that I could live with someone that is doing drugs and alcohol. Well, I know I wouldn't, I mean, I don't know about if you have a son or a daughter doing drugs. I don't think that I could do that. It would be too much for me. And especially because they can be abusive, they can steal from you. So I probably 99%, I would say no. I couldn't live with somebody like that. It's very hard. In any case, I'm looking in here. How do you do? I know the OBS has you can do, let me see if it has it. I thought it had you can mute it, but I don't see it here. I don't know what happened to mute. Start streaming virtual. I don't know. I don't see it in here. Well, anyways. It's a very hard, difficult situation to have a loved one that is on drugs. But I definitely feel that forcing them into change, forcing them into rehab, forcing them to do anything, it might be okay for certain individuals, but for how long? And let me tell you the reason why I'm saying this. First of all, the body consciousness get used to something, and it's going to ask you for more. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be sugar. There's no difference. It's going to be asking you. You give it to it, and it's going to ask you more and more and more. Now, to stop the body consciousness from asking you for this, whether it's sugar or drugs or alcohol, you got to give it 3 days. And then if you want me, I can do a video specifically about that, because it's not just about drugs. It could be, I don't know, sugar, it could be cigarettes, whatever it is that you want to stop. It could be that you're having an obsession with someone, that you want to see them and you miss them. It doesn't matter. You need 3 days. So if you want me, I'll tell you how to do it. How to work with the body consciousness. So you need to give it 3 days. Now, the body is going to ask you if you drink for alcohol. And especially for those few days that you're trying to instruct the body for those 3 days that we're not going to have any more alcohol, we're not going to have any more cigarettes. And I'm telling you something, I guarantee you that many, many people say, I'm not going to drink. They wake up today, I'm not going to drink. And it may last a whole day. They may be able to do it for 2 hours or 10 hours or maybe even 2 days. And then, like this, trigger. And they need a drink. Or they need to eat, or they need a cigarette. It's like quick, bang, is a trigger. And I call these buttons. Your buttons. You have buttons. And people can touch those buttons. They can push the buttons. So it's up to you to get rid of these buttons. So it's the same idea as trigger. All day long, people, situations, no matter what, it can be a trigger. So it's up to you to investigate, question, change these triggers. So if there's nothing there, nobody's going to trigger anything. So because it's not just people, there will be triggers, and these triggers are the one that you have to work with. And that's why it doesn't work. People say, I'm going to stop drinking, and then, bada boom. Your wife calls you, your husband says something, your mother, something happens. It could be a stranger, doesn't matter. All of a sudden, you just like, I need a drink. And you notice people say, I need a fucking drink, I need a drink. So, and it's usually not express anger, because the liver is, the energy of the liver is anger, that emotion of anger. And your boss says something, maybe your boss fires you, say you're fired, and you feel like you cannot express your anger and say you're a piece of shit, stick it up your ass. You're probably not going to do it. You're afraid that, okay, he'll call the police on me, blah, 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 blah. So you hold it in, and then you go home, or you go to the deli and get a drink. So punish yourself. I don't deserve better. And that's why intervention for me is not ideal, because it's, again, telling the individual he's a piece of shit. He already feels he's a piece of shit. So we need to change his attitude. We need to change how he feels about himself. You're not a piece of shit. They're usually very, very smart people. People that do drugs, very, very funny. They have. I'm gonna tell you about. I met a guy not too long ago, so like a month ago. I went to get a cell phone, and I'll tell you the story. And he's very, very smart. Very, very smart. But I'll tell you about it. And so these people that do drugs, they're very smart, and they have great personality. Okay, they're not dumbasses. They're not low IQ, especially not all of them. But the most part, they're very smart. And they're also very good-hearted, too. They're good people. Well, I think everybody is good. I think the majority are good people. But these people, especially these people, they're good people. Instead of hurting you, they hurt themselves. You know what I mean? They have this attitude that they don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to hurt mama. They don't want to hurt their father. They don't want to hurt their daughter's feeling. They don't want to hurt anybody's feeling. So they just, but it's okay to experience emotion. And part of the emotion is that some of them are negative. We have duplicity here. Okay? And this duplicity is like some things are bad, some things are good. There's no such a thing. It's just a perception. It's an illusion. So yeah, something like, oh yeah, this is bad, oh, this is good. And emotions, and some of them are negative, and some of them are positive. But you cannot just live on positive. And I'm going to tell you something. Negative people are not the ones who express negativity, Negative people are not the ones who talk shit about everybody, or this, because they're expressing it. No. Negative people are those who hold it in. They hold. They don't express that negativity. Okay? Those are the negative people. Actually, is very, very negative. But I'll continue to talk about that, because it's very important that you know that if you feel that, if you see your neighbor and you say, she's a fucking bitch, I can't stand her, that's okay. And you know what? I guarantee you that maybe you tell her, you say, shut up, bitch, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, whatever. And then you become best friends. Well, it happens to me a lot. I'm not telling you to go fight with your neighbor, but I'm saying, don't hold it in. Don't say, oh, that's not nice to talk about that. My neighbor, I don't know her. When you actually inside you feel like she's a bitch, right? Just say it. And you don't have to say it to the person, but you can be. That's why I think all of us need a good friend that we can express things, that they're not going to say, oh, that's not nice, you shouldn't say that. If you have a good friend that say, yeah, you're right, she's a bitch, just agree with you, you need that. Not someone that say, oh, you shouldn't say that, you shouldn't eat that, or you shouldn't drink. They're fucking low IQs. They're definitely low IQ. So anyways, I'll continue with meditation on the next one.